Hey y'all, it's Worthy Mother coming to help you birth your self-worth and redefine your relationships. So today's video is going to be a story time, and the story is my story. My overarching story to why I started on my journey, like my purpose journey. So if you want to hear my story, stay tuned and I'm going to hop right into it. If you see me looking down, it's because I have my notebook so I won't leave any parts out. I don't know how long this is. I don't know if I'm going to like break it up into two parts or not, but we'll see. So my relationship was toxic from the start before I ever got married or anything. It started off toxic, and there were like red flags like right off the bat. The biggest red flag was that the relationship got physical in the relationship part. So it wasn't even like we got married and then it got physical. No, it started off like that. And so basically I stayed in that relationship because I was insecure. Basically seeking validation or just acceptance, fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, all of those types of things. Basically daddy issues is why I stayed in a relationship. And obviously you don't know that right then and there. Like that's not like you don't comprehend that's what's going on right then and there. But that's definitely what I found out like after all of this was going on. That's definitely what it was daddy issues, insecurities. All of that is what made me stay in that relationship. And as we go down this story, you will see that I got married to. So I ended up getting pregnant, and at the time I didn't have health insurance, but I didn't know I didn't have health insurance. So my mom ended up switching jobs, and I was still under 26, so I was on her insurance, but I didn't know she took me off of her health insurance or didn't have health insurance anymore. So that meant I didn't have health insurance anymore, but I didn't know that. And so when I found out I was pregnant, I didn't have health insurance. And so I went through the whole ringer of trying to figure out how I can get health insurance. And at the end of the day, it came down to get health insurance like through the government or state or whatever it is. And the deductible before they even help you with anything was $10,000. Or get married. Like those were after intensive digging, those were my only two options because I was considered I wasn't considered low income. Like I had a decent paying job, so most of the benefits were for low income people, or low income women. And so I took that to my boyfriend at the time, and I asked him what did he want to do like with these options or whatever. And he ended up saying that he was planning on proposing to me either around Christmas time or New Year's time anyway. So he took his time to think about it, and then he came back with that he was already planning to propose to me. So he said it was cool and we could just go ahead and get married or whatever because he wanted to marry me anyway. Even though and that's the thing about it too, is yeah, we rushed to get married because of the insurance. But even if he would have proposed to me like that Christmas or New Year's, whatever it was, I still would have said yes. And that's the thing, that's the issue right there, is that even though this relationship was already toxic, regardless of how we got married, I still would have ended up married. Like if he would have asked me to marry him, then I still would have married him. And that was because of the issues that I already had. And so so we ended up getting married, and like my pregnancy was horrible because like I just felt super lonely. Like he was gone most of the time. Like he was going to work or whatever, and like he would get off of work around like 5 o'clock, and then he would like take people home from work. So, and then go over other people's houses, friends' houses, family houses or whatever. And it would just always be like, he would come home late. It was always coming home late while I was pregnant. And it was like, I just felt super lonely throughout my pregnancy. We would always argue, get into arguments all the time. And there were 2 times that I remember that it actually ended up getting physical while I was pregnant, twice. And so I ended up having preeclampsia, which is high blood pressure while pregnant. And I really think that's the reason why. There's no definite reason for why people get preeclampsia, but with all of the stress and all of the arguing and then us getting physical while I'm pregnant, like I'm pretty sure that was the reason why I ended up having high blood pressure while pregnant. And then which led me to having my daughter 2.5 months early. And so after going through that whole process, she ended up coming 2.5 months early, and thank God that we ended up getting married, because she had to stay in a NICU for a whole month after the pregnancy. So in that sense, it worked out for my baby. But yeah, like after she came home, the relationship continued to be toxic. And then that's when we're like, okay, we have a kid now, so we need to figure out what we're going to do. And so we started going to marriage counseling, and we did marriage counseling for a good while. And basically it was okay. I feel like at that point it just kept us steady, because each time we went back to the counseling sessions, it was like we were breaking down our arguments that we had the previous week. So it'd be like we argued about something, and then we'll tell her like, okay, so this was the problem this week. And it was like, she called it crisis mode, to where like we were literally trying to work through the disagreements we had the week before, instead of like really deep diving into the marriage as a whole or our backgrounds and all of that stuff. It was more so, how can we fix these arguments so you can function? And so that's how it was. So it was that was the cycle that we had with marriage counseling. And so to me, it was kind of getting better or whatever. But then it was one marriage counseling session where he was like, he didn't know if he wanted to do it anymore and he needed a break. So we came up with the conclusion to let him go away for a weekend and get a break in a hotel room or whatever. And we did that. So once we agreed to the hotel thing, obviously that didn't help. So on New Year's Eve of 2019, he told me that he didn't want to be with me anymore. And so that was a really, really emotional and crazy time for me, because it was just like, what? So like, cause in my head, I never thought about or even imagined like that, like we're married. So I'm thinking like, okay, we gonna work it out. Like that's what counseling is for. That's what church is for. And like, we're gonna work it out like that. I never thought about the outcome of a man leaving me, or like a man just like saying, I don't want to be with you no more, and just dipping in a marriage. Like I never thought about that before. And so that really messed me up. And so like this whole time between the day that he said that he said he didn't want to be with me anymore until now, basically, this whole time I had to figure out what I was going to do. So at the beginning, my emotions were like everywhere. Like I was doing dumb stuff, like really dumb stuff. And I'll probably make some more story time videos telling y'all about the dumb stuff that I did. But just to be real about it, because like people are go through stuff. People have these insecurities and people do stuff to try to keep people around. People are walking around here, don't know who they are in Christ, don't know their worth and their value. So you're like basically stooping low and lowering your boundaries, lowering your standards and all of this stuff, and just doing stuff you would never think that you would have done before, just so you can keep somebody around. And so I'll come out with probably videos about the dumb stuff that I did, but I did some dumb stuff, and just emotional roller coaster, depressed, couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. It was just bad. And so it wasn't until I started having my relationship with God, like I literally binge watched sermons, I would journal, I would do so many things. I was still going to therapy, but this time I was going alone. And so like it was just a lot of things that I had to work through. And then on top of that, it was the pandemic. The pandemic had just started because in 2000, it was, New Year's Eve of 2019. So 2020, January 2020 is when he left the house. But March 2020 is when all of the pandemic stuff started. And stuff started shutting down and all that stuff. So like literally I was stuck in the house by myself, with my baby by myself, and trying to take care of her while I'm going through all of this emotional stuff. And then while the whole world is shut down, like it was literally crazy. And it was literally the like most emotional stuff I've ever been through. And so, and because she was only one, I was left to take care of her and left to pay all the bills on my own. I had to find daycare because he was watching her while I went to work, and I would watch her while he went to work. And since he left, I had to figure out daycare. I had to take her, pick her up. I had to do the single mom thing. And so that was just a whole big thing. But then when everything shut down, now I'm just stuck in the house with a baby, and I can't get any break because all it is me being emotional, my thoughts, my issues, trying to take care of a baby, being depressed and sad, all of that, just like it all added up, and it was crazy. And so I had to build my relationship with God. Like literally God is the only reason why I have got through this whole separation and divorce period, is because of him. And obviously it was a lot that went into that, but he was my foundation. Like God was my foundation through this thing. Like I cannot even stress that enough. Once I figured out my worth, my value, how a man should and shouldn't be treating me. Once I got my relationship with God down packed, like I literally was free. Like I was free mentally, I was free emotionally, I was free even spiritually, because there's this notion that you're like, when you're a Christian, you're not supposed to get divorced, or God hates divorce. So it was also that part of it, like feeling shame because I am a Christian and like he left. So, and he filed for divorce. So it's like, now I'm about to be divorced. And so it's that part of it too. So being spiritually free, and then also like physically free, because obviously our relationship was still abusive. And then even after the abuse part of it, when he left, I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep. Like, so even the freedom physically, like it was just a lot. Like to get free from all of that was huge for me. And that's why I want so badly to help other women going through the same thing. It's like, because the separation and divorce part is so hard. Like it is the hardest part of it all. Like we go through the toxic relationships and the toxic marriage, but coming out of it is so hard. And it's because like you have all these bonds with this person. You guys are like one in the spirit, and it's like hard. It's like you just ripping that apart or whatever. And so, and being also like just being addicted to toxicity, like not knowing how to function because that's all you've been functioning in doing. Also like being afraid of the future because you don't know if you're ever going to have somebody else in the future or find somebody else in the future, all of this type of stuff. So that's why I want to help women get past all of that, because there is hope on the other side of all the pain. Like I was always thinking like, when is this going to end? Like, when is this pain going to end? Like, when am I not going to care anymore? Like, when is this going to end? And so like, yes, there's hope on the other side of this pain, and I want to help women get there. So I made a Facebook group called Whole Worthy Woman. So it's called Whole Worthy Woman Separation and Divorce Support Group on Facebook. So if you want to join, if you are in this type of situation of separation or newly divorced, or even if you're divorced and still struggling, join the support group, and I will be in there supporting you, and we can talk. You can also DM me on Instagram. So my Instagram is theworthymuva, MUVA, on Instagram. And yeah, you can DM me on there if you need support, or I can do a call or anything. So yeah, I am here to support. I am here to help. I'm also thinking about changing the name to The Worthy Mother, because I just want everything to flow with all my other channels, and now everything is kind of slowly changing. So I might be changing the name of this channel, but I will still have mommy content as well. Like, I am just encompassing my journey, my being a single mom, my baby, stuff like that. So I'll still have the same content. I would just be adding more. So thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell for future videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. I would put her in the bathtub. I take her out. I'm about to put lotion on her, and I see all these little bumps on her hands, on her legs, and all of this stuff. So now I'm like, oh Lord. So